Hi, I'm Jill Fraser. I've been a miniaturist for over 30 years, and I started this YouTube channel to share my work with you and to show you some of the things that I do and how I do them, and to show you how I meet some of the challenges that I find in my workshop from day to day. So I hope you enjoy this video. So I had a few challenges today. I was covering off a lot of different disciplines, but I'll see if I can make sense of it. First of all, I'm going to be doing a little workshop on a Tudor bonnet for Thomas, a man's hat. And then I'm going to show you some of my sister's work. It's quite a unique 3D kind of crocheting work. And then I'm going to finish off with the little project that I do every day at the moment to try and finish my box of kits. And so hopefully it'll all make a bit of sense. So I'm just doing a little workshop on making a Elizabethan hat for Thomas here. Now there's a couple of ways of doing it, but I'll show you one way first. And so you really need to look at it by the size, and you need to have a 2-inch diameter circle for the crown as a pattern, and then the brim is slightly smaller, 3/4 of an inch, but I actually ended up making it a little bit bigger because it's got to fit round Thomas's head. Now if you're going to make a brim like this, you really need to cut out a piece of paper and shape it round your doll's head first to see if it's going to fit, and Thomas has got quite a big head of hair, and so I had to make my brim a bit bigger. So what I did was I cut out some pattern pieces and put them on some black velvet, and for underneath the brim for the finish I've used a bit of black felt. So for this exercise you need some pins, some pegs, some cotton, a needle and some glue, and a doll, somebody that you want to put the hat on. So first of all I cut out these pieces, which I'll do now. Now I should have done this before. I have to leave a bit more on this edge because I want to fold it over. It doesn't matter about the top edge, but the bottom, around the outside of the brim, it needs to be nice and neat. So I'm just going to do that properly. So I'm now cutting around the outside of the brim, and I'm leaving a good, almost a centimetre actually, excess, but on the inside I can cut it the same. Oh, depending on what you want to do, I might leave a little bit there for gluing together later. And some velvets don't fray, and some are terrible at it. So the best thing to do is run a bead of PVA glue around the edge. Let it dry and then finish doing what you're doing. So that's the brim part. Just come back to that in a minute. Got my Kiwi accent. And now I'm going to cut right around the rim to the edge of the pattern. Hope you can see that all right. And so now I've got a bit of a weak solution of glue, and I will just, it's got a bit of colour on my paintbrush, but it doesn't matter. And it's going to I'm just going to take it round the edge so that it just seals the edge so that it doesn't fray. Now this piece is going to be tucked in under the hat. Afraid it wouldn't matter, but I just like mine to be a little neater. Right, so then while that's drying, I will continue with the brim. So with the brim, there's one important thing that I haven't told you. But I'll do this first. I'm just going to do all one slant angles first. And then I'm going to come back and cut it the other way. Take it back the other way. So I end up with little notches. Yep. So when I glue them, they'll sit flat. Now the other thing I need to do is I need to I need to glue this pattern onto a piece of card so that the brim is stiffer. So now I'm using a piece of fairly stiff card. It's not ultra stiff, but it's stiff enough for this. I think if it was really thick, you wouldn't want to do it. It would make it too unnatural looking. I'll just cut quickly around here. There we go. And so this is going to give your brim a bit of body. Like so. A bit narrower there. And you glue it onto the wrong side of your velvet. And then the glue is going to make this edge more stable anyway. This is my good old quick set wood glue, but it works really well. But Eileen's tacky glue would work just as good, and tiger glue works just as good. So you glue that onto there and you let it dry. While I'm letting that dry, I can finish this bit, which is dry now. So what I did was I took a piece of strong black thread, because you don't want the thread breaking halfway through the job, and you run a gathering stitch around the outside edge of your circle. Just it depends on how you want it. I think that small stitches make a better finish. So once you've got round the outside edge, you pull it tight-ish. When you pull it tight, don't let the other end come through. Hold it with your finger. Or you could put a knot in it just to be on the safe side. So you have to pull it up fairly evenly. And I did one before, and that's not too bad. And I've tried to keep the circle round. And this one here, you've got to poke and prod it a little bit to get the right shape. It's not looking too bad. So you're looking at it like that. So I'm just going to tie this up together. Oh, just drop the needle. Like that. And then I can do a final little poke around to make it sure it's the right shape. Okay, so that's your top part of your hat. Like that. Now, with this one here, you want to be gluing the edges down. Now I've got some little pegs that I use to keep them down so that they don't fly up. Velvet doesn't really like glue much, so I just peg them. Make sure that it's nice and rounded on the edge. A little bit of glue on that bit. So that's looking pretty good. Quite nicely rounded. A few more pegs. These little pegs are great for jobs like this. So while it's drying, we need another peg. Hang on. Shift it. You cut your pattern out of a piece of light felt, light black felt. And this is going to be the lining on the inside of your brim. Oops. Right, I just had to pause here for a moment because the dog wanted its dinner and the cat wanted in. But I'm just finishing clipping around this pattern, and I'm using the felt, the light felt. And this is going to be glued onto the inside of the brim. And it just finishes it off. So now we have the lining, the brim, and the top of the hat. And now I've just got to go and get a feather. Now I've got a few feathers. I've got that one there. I've got a few I can sift my way through. I kind of wanted a brown one. I must be a bit short of brown feathers. That's a bit big. No, I think that what I've got in my hand is probably the better one. So we'll go with that one. That one's a bit big. These, I must have a look where my quails are, and they might have shed some feathers because they're pretty good source of brown feathers like that. Not 100% happy with that. Might just carry on. Oh, there's one here, and I can shape this one. So I'll just trim it. And we'll see how that works too. So I've got two choices, which is good. This is just needing to dry, so I'll be back shortly and we'll carry on. Hi, so now I've been away and I've let things dry, and I came back and I glued my top onto the brim, and then I glued a little feather on it. Now, you have to give velvet some time to stick and dry because it's not very, it moves a lot and moves against the glue. So now we've got a little bonnet. This is a Tudor bonnet. And it will sit on, oh darn, he's stuck to the paper. It'll sit on Thomas's head with a bit of luck. Maybe the other one might fit better, but that's better. And I also got a little red feather on the other one, so that that actually looks a bit more Tudorish. I like that. So it's about manoeuvring the velvet around into the shapes that you want. That looks quite dashing, really. And that little red feather was a bit of an inspired find. So that is the little Tudor bonnet. And I'm going to finish this video with something really different. My sister Barbara came today to look after my mum for a while, and she brought her crocheting, and she is making a very lovely crocheted rug, and I thought you should have a look at this. It's quite special. So I'll give you a few minutes with Barbara and her crocheting.
Change a few things, the colour of the beads and the type of beads. Added some beads on that white one since it was the centre one. And I didn't put some of the beads around the edge like she has in her book.
And which book's that, Barb?
This is the Bohemian Blooms by Janie Crow.
Right.
Yeah. Which is actually lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that one. You can see the colour.
Yeah.
I'm pretty well close to her colours.
Yeah.
Where I couldn't get the wool, I've used other yarns, but I've got the colour pretty well spot on, really.
Yeah.
Even though that looks a bit blue, that's actually grey.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so it's, so I'm onto the border.
Yeah.
So I'm onto I did it around the other way. She suggested going border in, but I've gone motifs out to border because of the tension thing, because I wasn't really quite sure about the tension.
Yeah.
And you really do need to get, for me, I need, because I'm a newbie, I need to get the tension correct. Otherwise it'll go, yeah.
How do you get round the corners with that?
And it's all square little motifs, like granny squares.
Yeah.
So I go to that patchwork group that make material granny squares, material squares, but I'm allowed because I make my own granny squares out of, crocheted ones. So so no, I'm really pleased with that. That's actually coming on quite nice. Now I have to really, and my mind's in another project already, which is,
oh goodness. And so you're saying about making another one for Lily with just daisies?
Yes, because
those little daisies by your thumb.
A little bit like that, a bit similar, and they're joined together by a continuous sort of lace work.
Yeah,
the first one I did was that, because it helps you, because you've got all these motifs you can put together. You can. It helps you do you got to get the tension right.
Right.
And I know everybody says don't worry about tension, but when you're using different yarn types, you do need to sort of consider the tension of what you're getting, and you're always changing your your crochet hook size as well.
Right, so
to get
that helps.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
So I pay attention to what she has in her book.
Right, good. And do you want to just hold that up a little bit first? It's looking really amazing.
Yeah, it's lovely. I
Yeah.
love the colours.
Yeah.
I love the bohemian look.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, it's
it's
fantastic.
a lovely one.
Thanks,
And
Bar.
yeah.
Looks great. Okay, so now I had to shoot around the other side of my studio to show you this my little suitcase that I made today, which was a kit from that box. And that's going to go on top of my luggage. And it all sits very nicely. Thank you very much. So when I put my hand in and shuffled around and got some more out, I, unfortunately, because I hate doing these, got 2 little cards to make some tins. So that'll be my chore. It'll be a chore tomorrow. And so hopefully I'll get some more Tudor house painting done before I have to do those pesky tins. So I'll see you tomorrow.